Today we're gonna look at the exact system Mitchell Mesenbrink used to win a national title. We're first gonna talk about how to use misdirections and fakes to get to your favorite attacks, and then we're gonna look at specific examples that Mitchell Mesenbrink uses in his matches. And if you stay till the end, you're gonna get a bonus instructional video on how he uses his arm drags to get to his leg attacks. The first and most important thing when you're faking or setting up your misdirection is your first initial attack needs to be believable. They need to feel like the fake is threatening enough.
You need to make your fakes so believable that your opponent has no other choice but to react. Watch how deep Mitchell reaches in for that fake to make his opponent react.
If I don't lower myself underneath his face, he won't have to react because his head alone will stop the shot. So instead, I need to get my shoulder or my body underneath his head, and right when he sees my body dropping underneath of him, he's naturally gonna throw one of his legs back or both of his legs back, which will open up whatever counter or secondary attack we're looking for. There's really an infinite amount of misdirection shots you guys can do. I'm just showing you guys the example with the fake high crotch low single, right? I'm building up pressure, just like I would if I'm hitting the high crotch. I shuffle, I pass, I make him feel threatened for this high crotch, and I drop off to the low single. And in a second, we're gonna go into specific examples of the misdirections that Mitchell Mesenbrink uses, but I want you guys to understand this. Whatever you guys choose as when you're building your wrestling system, you guys need to be threatening enough with that first attack. You need to make them believe the first shot is happening before you transition to that second shot. He'll even go to a third level of faking. Right now, I'm just talking about faking high crotch, going low single. I could fake a high crotch, fake a single, and then arm drag and go behind. That's just an example of one. So I can do two fakes. I can come here, and I can come here, and I could drag and get my go behind. Let's move on to some examples from Mitchell Mesenbrink so we can dig into the specific shots he likes to go to. First one I saw was a Russian tie wrist snap. I would say this is not one he hits very common, but let's take a look at the video first, and then we'll show some details in person.
One thing that's super important with this technique is you need to build up pressure. So Mitchell brings his opponent to the out of bounds line, which makes his opponent want to push back in to stay in bounds. Then what he does is he controls his opponent's left hand, he attacks his opponent's right leg. As the opponent steps back, he pulls that arm by and hustles behind for the go behind.
So Mitchell has control of his opponent's left wrist. He's just gonna fake at a low ankle attack on his opponent's right leg. As the opponent reacts, he's just gonna pull down and across with the wrist and look for that go behind. I would say this is one of the harder moves to hit in wrestling because you can't build up a ton of pressure, but it's still somewhat common nowadays. I'm dropping off, making him feel like I'm gonna attack that low ankle or low single, maybe ankle pick. As he steps back, I'm pulling the arm through and hopping on top and getting the go behind. If you guys are serious about improving your wrestling, you're gonna wanna go and check out the Iron Faith Academy. This is a online academy where you're gonna get access to all of my instructional videos, as well as a place where you can post your matches, get them reviewed, ask questions, and get direct access to me. So if you're interested, just start your 7-day free trial by clicking the link in the description or the pinned comment at the top, and I'll see you guys inside the academy. The next attack I would say is very common that Mitchell hits is actually faking more of an ankle pick and attacking the opposite side of the body. Let's take a look at the video real quick, the two examples we have, and then we'll go into some more details.
Mitchell is gonna get a lefty collar tie, and he's gonna set up his ankle pick. He drops down to the ankle pick. As his opponent steps back, he switches off to the opposite leg. Let's watch that again in slow motion. He has the lefty collar tie, his right leg's forward, ankle pick, switches off to the opposite leg, and gets on top. Here he hits the same technique again on the same exact opponent. This time his head ends up on the inside, and he finishes a backside single leg finish.
So Mitchell's here in a lefty collar tie, and he can have the wrist, inside tie, maybe he has no tie, and he's gonna be attacking an ankle pick on his opponent's left leg. He's gonna set up the same way, right? He's here, he's making him feel like an ankle pick's coming. When he goes and drops to his right knee for the ankle pick, his opponent steps back, and then he's swinging to his left knee and dropping out to this leg over here. What you're gonna notice that's very common with a lot of Mitchell Mesenbrink's shots is he'll either end up on a head outside or head inside single, and he can finish either way. Once he fakes the ankle pick and they step back, he may end up with his head on the outside, or he may end up with his head on the inside. But he's jumping to that second attack, right? He's here, he's just jumping, dropping to this knee, to that second attack. And then once he gets to that leg, he's very good with his finishes. So he's able just to fix his position and finish the shot. If his head's on the outside, he'll fix his posture, he'll finish the high crotch. If his head's on the inside, he'll finish the single leg takedown. The next one I wanted to point out was a fake single to an elbow pass, go behind. I hit this technique similarly, but I fake a single and go arm drag, go behind. But let's take a look at the video first, and then we'll pick up any of the extra details in person right here.
Mitchell is cutting his opponent on the tricep. He fake single, passes it off, and hustles behind. One thing you're gonna notice is he's building up a lot of pressure here. His opponent is standing straight up, trying to push back into him as hard as he can. Mitchell then fakes the single, his opponent reacts, he shoves the arm off, and hustles behind for the takedown.
So Mitchell's cutting his opponent. This is a little tip I want to add into this instructional. Is anytime you cut somebody, you cut them to your tie up. So I'm not giving him space. I'm reaching right to my inside tie. My head's in position. My opponent starts coming up to his feet. And this time his opponent, I think, had some sort of a front headlock here. A little grip on the head. It was just about, that's all it was right here, right? Then what Mitchell did is he built up some pressure. He faked his single leg. His opponent made almost like more of like a sprawl reaction. Boom, and then he pushed the arm by his head and just hustled to his go behind. He's cutting his opponent. His opponent tries to grab a front headlock. He builds some pressure up, fakes the single, step in fake, and then pushes the arm by and hustles for his go behind. Yeah, and make sure you guys stay till the end of this video because we're gonna throw in that arm drag technique that he likes to use to get to his leg attacks as well. But I wanna hit a few more misdirection shots before we get to that. The last misdirection I wanted to show was his fake outside step to single leg on the opposite side. Let's check out the video, look at some details that he's doing, and then again, we'll add some key pointers in person right here.
Mitchell's opponent steps to the line, fakes outside step, and drops into the opposite leg. Let's watch that again in slow motion. Mitchell stepping his left leg forward, reaching in for an outside step shot, and then dropping off to a single. He then switches off to a double leg and finishes the takedown. Here's another example of him hitting the takedown. Sometimes his head ends up on the outside, sometimes it ends up on the inside. In this case, his head ends up on the inside, so he fakes outside step, drops into the single leg, but still chooses to push his head to the outside and finish the takedown from more of a high crotch head outside single position.
So Mitchell is doing a fake outside step. He's faking, this is what an outside step looks like for those who don't know. It's this, stepping and sliding, right? Outside leg stepping, knee is sliding right in between, and you end up in a high crotch position. It's very common for people to tap with the left hand on the shoulder. They go to reach up, and then kind of coming into that outside step position just like that. So you'll notice he's doing the same motion with his hands as if he was gonna take that attack. He's setting up that outside step. He's doing the same, but he already knows he's gonna attack the other leg. So what he'll do, he's here, and then he's here. He's reaching up, and then just pushing off this leg and jumping into there. And this shot feels a little awkward almost to me, but that's why I think like one of his best moves is because it's something you wouldn't feel would happen, or people wouldn't think would happen. If you're stepping in like this, no one's gonna think you're gonna hit that opposite leg there. Another thing I just wanna point out is, again, he's either gonna end up with a head inside or head outside, it doesn't matter. He's great at finishing shots. So whether he goes and fakes here and then pushes off this leg and jumps in and ends up with his head on the outside, fix his posture, finish the shot. he might end up with his head on the inside and finish with his head on the inside. Either way, doesn't make a difference. He's finding a way to get to that leg, and then he's working on finishing the takedown. What I want you guys to do, go and write out the list of techniques you like to do and find ways to connect them together in misdirection shots. Now, for those who stayed to the end, we got a bonus move and little instructional for you guys on Mitchell Mesenbrink's arm drag. Let's take a look at some of those videos first, and then we're gonna go and break up some of the details in person.
This is from the national finals. Mitchell Mesenbrink is in an over tie thumb block, clears, drops off to a single, head comes to the outside, shelves it up, finishes the crackdown position. Let's slow down this arm drag. He has an over tie thumb block, extends the arm. As he's chopping, he shifts his shoulder backwards, arm drags, and quickly hustles for the leg. Sometimes his head ends up on the inside, sometimes it pops to the outside. In this instance, he uses the arm drag to get his opponent to react and knee sprawl to the mat, and then he hustles behind for his go behind. Let's watch that one again in slow motion. He's faking. He's over tie thumb block, he clears, tries to arm drag, hustles one way, hustles the other, ends up going to that arm drag on the opposite side to finish the takedown.
So Mitchell Mesenbrink normally hits the arm drag to his opponent's left side. What he's looking for is either a post on the shoulder or a collar tie with his opponent's left hand. Then what he likes to do is come over top and do a thumb block on his opponent's shoulder. Once the arm is extended and he's built up some pressure, he's going to turn his body into the arm. He's gonna turn his body into the arm, and as he turns his body into the arm, his hand's gonna slide down the arm and chop as close to the wrist as possible. What you'll notice is the more I turn my body this way, the straighter this arm becomes, and especially if he has a post, the arm might even slip off. So as I turn my body into the arm gets extended and sometimes even slips off, so it's gonna help when I try to clear this arm. So as I turn away, my hand slides back, I chop at the wrist, and my left hand reaches up towards the tricep. Then I'm gonna turn right back in and go for my sweep single. I'm gonna turn in, step, and hit into my shot. Thumb blocking, extending that arm. I'm just gonna turn, swing in, and look to finish that takedown. Same thing like I've been saying this whole entire instructional. Doesn't matter if his head ends up on the outside or inside, he's finding a way to that leg and finishing the takedown. So it's very common for him to arm drag. His opponent circles and faces a little bit, and he ends up with his head on the outside here and finishes the head on the outside position. Okay, I'll hit one rep all the way through. We're here, extending that arm with the thumb block, finishing the shot there. Hope you guys enjoyed that instructional video. If you guys want to see a specific system broken down, make sure to comment below what system you like to see, and check out my video on Marcus Blaze's counterattack system right here.